I would say determination to get the food out right. I don't like sending out, food that's not prepared correctly or not plated correctly. I want it to look good, I want it to taste good. I have before in the past, I've fallen into leadership roles. I think to lead, you have to lead by example, and that's kind of that's the way that I tend to approach work. I think I tend to fall into that role. From time to time, I mean, you run into a lot of different temperaments and people's different skill levels. For the most part, I've always been the guy that has gotten along with most everyone in the kitchen and been able to work well with most everyone, but your patience do get tried pretty often. It's really about people doing their job, keeping up on what they're supposed to be doing. You're prepared pretty well in the kitchen as far as going through the processes of doing your work. So when it crosses over to someone else's, you're not getting your job done because someone else is not doing their job, then it can get a little heated. But for the most part, if you just approach the situation right, you can't yell, you can't blow a fuse and start throwing pots and pans around. You just have to treat them like you would want to be treated and approach them the way that you would want to be approached. Those old school days are pretty much over with, People demand respect. I can pretty much handle a really fast-paced work environment as long as I'm pretty well prepared. That's really the biggest challenge to overcome when I'm working in a kitchen, is making sure that you're mentally prepared to execute what you came in to prepare. I do work in the industry, and as long as I have my mise en place, which is my prep items in place, I can handle a lot of stressful situations. But that's what I like. I like the heat. I like being on the line. I like hearing the printer run off and trying to keep up and figure out how you're going to make it through the next hour. It's not about what you use as far as ingredients or spices or even product. It's more about the process. And if you can learn the processes in cooking, then you can pretty much handle whatever is in front of you. If you know how to do proper cooking techniques, sauteing, braising, roasting, if you know how to do those techniques and know how to do them well, it doesn't matter what protein's sitting in front of you, whether it's chicken or pork or beef. And it goes the same for the other components that make up dishes, like starches and vegetables and fruits and salads, everything. As long as you know the processes, you can pretty much work with anything that's given to you. The Art Institute, they've definitely given me a better understanding of food, the way that it's cooked, the way that it's prepared, but also the industry itself. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. There's a lot behind the scenes that you don't see. They've definitely pushed the professionalism side of the industry. Keep it professional and looking professional, and I don't want to answer this.
Well, we're not live at the time.
How have they influenced the chef that I want to become?
How have they influenced who you are now? When you talk about professional.
They've definitely influenced me confidence-wise. I remember my first day in skills, and I'm an older student compared to most of the students here, but I felt like a little boy. Like, I had no idea what was going on. And they're yelling orders, hey, this is what you gotta do. And then I get to the point now where I walk into a kitchen and it doesn't matter what they tell me to do, I can jump right to it, So I have the confidence now, which I think will benefit me throughout my career. It wasn't from watching the Food Network. It wasn't from hanging out in kitchens or even working in a kitchen before. I never even worked in a restaurant until after I started culinary school. For me, it was a career choice. I wanted to write my own path. I wanted to pick my own destiny. I didn't want to work for someone else the rest of my life. I had cooked ever since I was a child. My mom was a really, really good scratch cook. I used to spend a lot of time with her in the kitchen. And I cooked a lot for myself at home. So I just decided one day I wasn't happy in the industry that I was in, and I wanted to do something that I liked doing, something I loved doing. And after attending the Art Institute, it's definitely put even more of a passion and fire into me to become successful. I graduated high school and I worked in concrete construction, pouring driveways and sidewalks. I worked in factory for 5 years. I was a carpenter for a while. And then my last job that I held for a while, which was 6 years, I was a machinist, CNC programmer. Yeah, you can't get anywhere. You know, it's hard to get out from underneath working for someone else in those type of industries. Yeah, it had nothing to do with. Everybody always compares art and food together, and it can be an artistic outlet for a lot of people. But for me, I just think that food is so important in everyone's daily lives. You cannot live without food, period. Everybody needs it. So after educating myself on what I was putting into my body, that's what kind of sparked the interest in me to maybe put that out there for other people to understand too. You know, obviously the diets in America these days aren't very good. We're an obese country, and it's because a lot of people aren't really educated on food. And if people knew the truth, they would make better choices. You know, all those pictures you see of food in magazines, that food's not even really cooked, you know? They just make it look good for a picture, you know? So the food stylists, they just make that stuff look pretty, but you wouldn't want to eat anything they take a picture of, you know?
I get it.
So food is, the appearance of food is the initial thing. It's what you see first, and you eat with your eyes first, you know? Oh, that looks really, really good. But if your flavors don't hold up, it's not gonna matter what it looks like.
Yeah.
I wanted to change the way that I nourished myself. You know, I guess you could kind of carry over into business of this too. I mean, I wanna be, what's the word I wanna use? I guess self-sufficient. I wanna be able to not have to worry about making next month's electric bill.
Right.
You know, I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I want to be able to look forward to maybe taking a vacation one of these days, you know? And it's a fun lifestyle. I mean, it's the nightlife. It's fast paced, it's fun, it can get crazy, so it's addicting.
That's a wrap.